Well, I have a Pontiac G6, and the wife loves it. It's a 2007, I believe it is, and it's a hard top, and the top is stuck in the trunk. I think you other YouTubers have given me some ideas, and I've taken it beyond that to make this thing happen and get it working. So let's talk about a few things. So first thing, with the trunk retracted totally and it's in a down position, even that it's misbehaving, you can get to the pump and make sure it's got fluid. Well, most of the time the fluid's out because of the pump's bad and got a cracked tank, or you got a leak somewhere. I had a leak somewhere, and I'll show you how I diagnosed it, how I changed it, what I did. So first things first, you can, it's down in a down position, you come over here and hit the trunk button and the trunk opens, which is great. So you can get to that. I'm gonna do this. I got a couple things to hold that up. I don't want it hitting my head. So on the left side here, and I'm gonna turn the camera. I'll change those things later. The hydraulic pump is on this side. You have to pop out little goodies here before you can get to it, and then you can get a fancy little hose. And this is the hose I did. My hose was a little rubber funnel that I got from the wife in the cooking area, and then I shoved a hose in it to extend the length of this. And so that's how I'm able to reach down through there and finagle, so to speak, put some more fluid in there, because it's leaking, and so it's run out of fluid. My test was that I had a good pump still because I could see it leaking. It was spraying out on the other corner, and I'll show you how I find out about all that in just a moment. But my pump was almost dry because the wife was trying to press the button and get the thing back up like she's supposed to. So it pumped it dry. So I had to find some more. Now, my local Chevrolet dealer did not have any, but they looked up on the Napa and they had 1 quart inside of Columbia, South Carolina. 1 quart in the whole town. So later I found out by my good YouTubers that there is an equivalent at AutoZone and a few other places, but this is from Napa. It was expensive. It's green. It's hydraulic fluid for power steering and whatever else. So, but it's the exact product needed for this thing. It smells like citronella, like the bug spray, and that's how I was able to kind of chase it down. Where, they're not smelling citronella, which is the the bug spray that you put on. But I was able to chase down where the leak was. So I'm gonna stop the tape, show you the pump, how we had to get that. Okay, I'm on the right side of the trunk. Looking down here, that's gonna be hard to see, but you see the little shiny silver thing there? And I'm gonna prop this open with one of my pieces of wood here. Alright, this is the pump down here in the corner. It's got a lot of, I'm not sure if you can see all that, a lot of hydraulic lines coming out of the back of it. And also you can see right there, a little hole I have right there. Right there, that's the fill hole. Right now mine's probably about half full. And so I'm going to shove in my little hose in there and slowly fill it back up. It has a screw cap on it. It's a metal one, and of course I have dropped it into the bottom. So I'll find that in a minute, but I'll fill that back up and do my little process of, slow funnel and look how much the volume for overfill it. So, but that's the little pump back there and the reservoir. I know my pump's okay because I was able to find the leak that it kept pumping out on. So some people just run dry. It's a good chance you might have a bad pump, or you might have a bad line, or you might have a bad cylinder. I had a bad cylinder. I'll show you all that as we go. So I put my hose into the top of my cylinder, as you saw, for my reservoir, and I gotta fill it because I have used up a good bit. I think Napa charged my buddy, my brother-in-law, about $30, he said, for this thing. So I'm pouring in just a little bit, and when it filled that new cylinder I put in there, it used up a good bit of my reservoir. And so this is slow because I'm going down a little tiny hose, and that's fine. It's slow. I don't want to overfill it and make a mess. I'm bad about making messes. And you can see through the clear, cloudy clear reservoir, the levels that you're getting. And so it's nice that this is green, so I can see with the flashlight that the level, the green oil or the darker oil inside of the reservoir is starting to fill. And through my diagnostics, I've about used up 3/4 of this, and I'm capping it off now, especially as soon as I find that cap. Things are not easy to get hold of or work on when the thing's in your trunk. Your whole roof is in your trunk. Alright, I ended up making a special tool. That's going to be all that I need to get the one thing. Now, I was able to go to a junkyard called Pull Apart, and it was nice that they have online listings of what they have in stock. And is it a convertible? Is it a 4-door Pontiac G6? Well, as you know, the convertibles are hard to find. I happen to have, praise the Lord, a wrecked Pontiac G6 convertible at my local Pull Apart. I did look at other Pull Aparts around the southeast of South Carolina and Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and there was only one other in Winston-Salem, and it had a different marking on it saying it was possibly not 100% complete because it had a bad accident on it. So there goes all that goody there. Good. Now be careful with your hydraulic fluid. Hydraulic fluid is known to take paint off, so be careful with that. So don't get it on the rest of your vehicle. All right, so that's that hydraulic fill. All right, so the next process is to close the trunk. The computer will say it's back complete because you'll have to tell it's closed again, and you lock the trunk and all that fun stuff. I got enough fluid in it. I don't have the cap on it, but it's not a pressure situation. It's just a reservoir. So I'll get that screw to put on the top and lock it up for when my wife's driving around, it won't splash out. But the thought pattern is you would close your trunk and you would try to figure out where it's leaking or what's going on. First I did was when I had it all closed was that I would have my wife, because it takes two people, you got to press the button over there by the front mirror there, the mirror on the glass, and do you hear the pump running? I heard the pump running, so which is good, but nothing happened. So I started looking around. I reopened the trunk and I started looking for oil, hydraulic oil everywhere. Well, my hydraulic oil, after looking around, was on the left side behind the passenger, behind the driver, left corner there. I'll show you the one on the right corner real quick while I have you. I'll stop this. And, well, this is the right corner, the one that I had that was leaking. It was not a line, and I thought this all this stuff was electronic back here, but it's not. It is all hydraulic with sensors everywhere. It's amazing. So underneath, and I can just barely show you here. I know I'm turning and I apologize for that. Underneath the back here was a lot of green fluid, and it was smelling like citronella, and I put my hand there and rags there, and it was just a mess. So it has an inline and an outline at the very top of each one of these cylinders, so they can open and close by however they need to run, open and close the trunk by, you know, extend or not extend the hydraulic cylinder there. So mine was on the left side. To really see what I needed to see, let me show you what I had to do. I'm gonna walk around the car. I had to take out the back seat to get to everything. I truly went over to the corner there, and I was able to put my hand underneath it as my dad or my wife was using it, pressing the button, and oil came out on my hand underneath that cylinder. And so I was like, the only thing it could be is a cylinder, so let's go at it. So that's what we did. So next process, I have a bad cylinder. So I had to get the floorboard, the bottom seat out. That just pulls up, thank goodness. It's got two little pulls here, and you had to pull both sides, and that pulled up. The back seat comes up by these two screws here. Here a screw there and a screw over there. And then the seat belts are right there. And then, so I still got the seat belt sitting here, of course. To get to everything, I also have disconnected, I call this the bat wing, I believe they call this. Because this opens up and flips and does a few things while it's opening and closing. So, to get into where I needed to get to. So, I'm going to stop it again and show you kind of what I had to do to replace that cylinder. Welcome back. Well, this is the cylinder behind the driver, the main first one that opens up the trunk. And of course, this got to extend and do its things before other things get done. But the hydraulic lines come off very different than I ever expected. I couldn't figure out how to get these slide pieces that lock them in out. I tried to push back with screwdrivers, couldn't do that. So what I have is a ultra tiny one that somebody sent me for opening up and working with cell phones. I mean, it's awful tiny. So I was able to wedge that in between the hydraulic line and the piece a little bit, and I was able to slowly but surely move it back. And so you got to move the clamp around, and it comes back slowly. So as I got it moved a little bit, I used a bigger screwdriver. It wasn't much bigger. It was like one step higher. I mean, still tiny. And so it came in here and it moved it more, and it moved it more. And I got a little bit bigger screwdriver, not a regular screwdriver, of course. And then I was able to move it far enough. And then these just pull straight out. They pull straight out. They got a little O-ring into there that they fit into, and that seals perfectly. And then once you push in, you feel it click in, or seat in properly is a more better way of saying it. And then once you feel it seat in, then you can just use a screwdriver and slide these. You can use a regular screwdriver and slide them in. And there's a little trough that they only slide in. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but a little trough that they slide in, a little like a reverse rail, so to speak. And they slide in, and then you keep pushing in, and it with this hydraulic line pushed in all the way, seating properly, it just slides in, and then you feel it click into place, so it can't come out anymore. All right, this is the pin. This is not the correct pin. This is the pin that I've temporarily put in here for the the front one. This one came out of the back, and the front one's in the back right now. And so, because I could take this one out, but I couldn't dare put it back in because it was too cramped with everything in there at the moment. But I says, the other one's shorter, about a 1/4 inch shorter. So I was able to slide it in. I can't lock it in. And I just slid this one in, and I was able to reset everything, close things down, and the thing works again. So by going to the pull apart place, I was able to see some things that helped me understand what I had to do when I was taking this apart. So let me show you one of the things I had to do. I'm gonna put the trunk back up, the hard top back up, since it's now working, but it's temporarily working. I got little temporary pieces here. I got the wrong piece here on the wrong side, but it's gonna work for what we're gonna do at the moment, so we're all good. All right, so be back in a moment. This is that locking mechanism on the top of the cylinders. Ends up that that's what slides. I was able to get a real tiny screwdriver in and nudge it back just a smidgen, and then get a bigger screwdriver, and of course they all were tiny ones, but they were slightly larger each time, and it slid back. But that slides in that little rail, and then it locks the hydraulic hose on it. It's got a little rounded piece, and it kind of locks it into there. So but that's the hydraulic locking mechanism. I wanted you to see that too. It has a little loop back there. I tried to just push back on there, and there was just not enough grip to make that slide. I was able to go to that little center hole there, I mean, with an ultra tiny screwdriver, and just slow but surely rock it back, and it got bigger hole, and I was able to change it up. So I wanted you to see that. So you remember that shoulder on the other one I showed you up front? It slides in back here, which I can do now, which I need to go get and do. So let me start this over. All right, back to this. I told you it was nice that I had that one at the junkyard. I could see how all this was done, because I was really over my head. This is the one I put up front just temporarily, because when I took it out, I couldn't put it back in. It was just too tight, and I was too tight of a situation. So I was able to, this Allen wrench, Allen head, Allen screw, slides right into this neck and locks it into place. So I was able to slide that out, barely. And I'm putting in the correct one here. Get it lined up. It's not lined up well. It's still got some fluid on the bottom of it. So I was finally able to align that properly. It does have that collar neck on it that we talked about. And then this Allen goes right in there and positions that collar for it won't move no more, and so it'll permanently stay in there. Now, I could not get, and I'm going to try to put that together with my fingers versus the Allen wrench, a real Allen wrench in here, because it was all collapsed in. I couldn't move it, of course, and so I was in dire straits of how can I get that Allen, which is nice that I went to the junkyard. I knew what the thing was to release it, but as I try to get that little fella back in there, I get that back in there, and then so I was able to. I couldn't get a regular one in there, so I was kind of jammed up. So here I go getting a Allen wrench. It's a junk one. It's the right size to go in it. I was praying it was, and it was. And then I got it on the blowtorch, my regular propane torch, and I heated it up to a bright red, and I made me some shorter right angles. I straighten it out and all. And so as I do this, I'll come back and put that in there in just a moment. But let me show you my little Allen wrench. So I bent this for I can have something to grab and turn. This was too long, so I made it straight from where it was at, and then I made a little tiny turn. It's normally about a 1/2 inch before it turns. I mean, it turns and leaves you there, but I didn't have that much room. So I made a little fancy tool to let me get to the back of this little Allen screw. And that let me back it out for I could get it out and change it out and then do that. So I'll put this girl back together real quickly and show you a few more things. I wanted to show you all the hydraulic cylinders best I can remember. There is a cylinder here on the side of each of the trunks. There are sensors. This is a sensor right here. There's a sensor on the reverse side right here. All of them have sensors, and they got to know that they're there, and when it's time to change such systems. There is the one that I had to replace is here. There's another one on the other side, as you know. Same thing. It's locked in with that Allen wrench screw. There is one here in the back. Like I told you earlier, I'm not sure how this thing really did it, because it opens the trunk in reverse to let the thing in and out. So there's one here. There's another one right about here. There is two underneath the hardtop, right about where it latches in. So this is not going to be an easy problem for you to find. You could have a bad pump, you could have a bad line, you could have a bad cylinder, or a bad sensor has been cut, you know, a wire been cut. And I saw, you know, on some other videos that these sensors wires get clipped by accident because they've not been zip tied very well and stayed out of the way. So that thought pattern is all there. So that's your diagnostics. This is the top of the hydraulic. They give you a little corner here, which is almost useless, but you can see all the lines down there, and all. There's probably 15 lines. So it's a lot to do. Mine was tough to get that one cylinder out, but thank goodness there's only one cylinder was my problem. And so I've got the back seat out. I've got the bat wing, which is the thing that goes up and down and moves this little side wings off. And the trick is to make sure you put things with a Ziploc back. That way you want a zip tie back. That way these things will stay out of the way. You won't get a broken wire or a broken harness or a broken something. Keep it back the way it was done. So I got to put this girl back together. But I wanted to share that with you. I made a little tool. There's a lot of little clips. There's a lot of, like you said, only two of them are Allen wrenches. The hose to refill your reserve, be slow and easy. Otherwise that fluid will take the paint off. And I wish you luck, my friend, but that's how we do it. Oh, the best tip of it all. Sorry, I forgot to the last. You might not have a junkyard that has the stuff. I was able to go to that junkyard and I was able to get everything. A new pump, all the lines, all of the pieces. I didn't know how to really take that off in the back yet. That's the one that by the back of the trunk. All the side lines for the back of the hood, everything, all the cylinders. And at the pull apart I did, it was almost $200. But the reverse of that is if you know what it is, guess what? eBay. People sell them on eBay. You cannot buy this product anymore. It's $700 to rebuild that pump if that pump's your problem. It is, you know, the parts and the clips and the things, you just can't find it no more. But they're on eBay. Look up Pontiac G6 Convertible or convertible parts or hydraulic, and they are there. They're a little pricey, but at least you can keep your car running. So I'll store all this, and praise the Lord, hopefully I'll never need it until the wife decides to get rid of this vehicle. But yeah, we talked to you earlier about the broken sensor wire. This one at the junkyard did have a broken sensor wire on the side. It got hit from the back, but that's fixable if I had to. So that was one of the wires on the side over here I showed you earlier, right there. But mine's not broken, but I got a switch if I need it, so it's all good. So you could have a switch problem. You have to do a lot of inspection and see what's going on. Look for oil, see if you got oil in the unit, listen for the unit to be, if it's pumping, make sure you get the right oil. Look at other YouTubes about the same thing, and you can, they refer you to the Advanced Auto ones and all, because it's even hard to find the hydraulic oil. So good luck, my friends. Y'all have a blessed day.